Science, nature, and fun. What is life? Hi, welcome to Gosh, It's a Big World. Today we're going to be talking about kind of a really neat animal, the duck-billed platypus. And you're going to learn about the way it lives and its life. And you're going to learn a lot of real kind of neat tidbits you might not have known before. So let's get started. Let's jump right in. Now, the platypus is such a unique animal. It's a mammal, but it's got a duck bill, webbed feet, and a beaver tail. And Charles Darwin actually thought it was so strange that it must have adapted to the environment it lives in. And so this actually helped fuel his theory for evolution. Wow. I mean, wow. Okay, so the platypus is found in eastern Australia, down under, and also in Tasmania, the only places you'll really find them in the whole world. And they live in the riparian zone, which is this sort of interface between a river and land. And they make their burrows underground in these little tangles of roots. And it's this kind of tropical environment. It's really great for a platypus, to kind of thrive, really. We've got kind of a really great opportunity today to kind of pick the brain of someone who knows a whole lot about this animal. Dmitry Koshalevsky. He's an expert on the ecology of the duck-billed platypus, so we get to pick his brain a bit. Welcome, Dmitry.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So what kind of things might a platypus eat?
The platypus feeds on freshwater shrimp, crayfish, and larvae, making it a secondary consumer. It needs to consume about 20% of its own body weight each day. Thus, it is common for this animal to hunt for up to 12 hours each day.
Uh-huh. And is there any kind of, competition between the platypus? Any competition?
Well, there is little competition between the platypus and other species, yet there is competition between male platypi for mates and territory. They have large venomous spurs behind their hind legs, which they will use to attack one another. They are one of the only poisonous mammals on Earth.
Good. Now, is there any kind of, parasitism that goes on within the platypus population?
In fact, there is. A small larva, known as Phobditoida, may make its home in the fur of a platypus.
Wow. Now, Dmitry, imagine for a moment I am a platypus. What kind of things do I have to worry about eating me?
Well, the platypus has many predators, ranging from crocodiles to snakes and even eagles. But the introduction of the red fox into several areas in Australia has greatly reduced the density of many platypus populations.
Okay, one last one for you here. Are the platypus, are they spread way out, or are they kind of clumped up? Are they clumped?
Dispersion of the platypus is clumped. They are found in isolated pockets because migration is difficult. The range of a male is 4 miles, overlapping 3 to 4 females.
Did you hear that little animal sound? That means it's time for a wild fact of the day. And today, we're going to be talking about how the duck-billed platypus finds its food. And it has this thing called electroreception, and it kind of digs its snout in the ground when it dives in the water, and it has these little sensors that can pick up tiny vibrations from crustaceans that are kind of wiggling around in the dirt, and then it kind of just snatches them up, and that's wild, huh? Density, how dense something is, right? Okay, well, with the platypus there are factors that are dependent on density, and some that are more or less independent of the density, right?
So as I said, we've got these things like dams, irrigation, pollution, nets, traps that are really bad for the population of a platypus. You know, no matter how really, really big it might be or how really, really small it might be. So we've got this fungus, okay? And it's very, very bad for the platypus. It makes them very, very sick. And so, depending on how dense the population of the platypus is, you know, that's going to affect how quickly the disease is going to spread to the other platypus. And the really kind of weird thing about this is that it only affects the platypus in the Tasmanian population. It's this kind of phenomena that occurs, and it's very strange, and it makes them very sick. They get these ulcers and they get these lesions, and it's awful. It's sad, but it's true. We're going inside the nest of a platypus. You wouldn't know it by looking at them, but these little guys were actually hatched from eggs, because the platypus is one of only 5 mammals in the whole world to lay eggs. And so when they mate, an interested female will kind of swim up to a male platypus, and he will grab her tail in his mouth, and then you know what they do from there. And they are a polygynous animal, meaning one male may mate with many females. And so here the platypus is suckling, but what's strange is that the mother, she produces milk through these sort of little pores in her skin, and the milk kind of pools up in these little pouches where the young one can drink. And these little guys, they're really very vulnerable, you know, to predators and even to a strong current. You know, in the river, they can get washed away from their mother and they can die. And so they are very vulnerable, and so if they survive, they will live to, you know, kind of a ripe old age. And this is a type 3 survivorship curve. And it's really, really pretty interesting. Wow, how about it? The platypus is truly a really neat animal. I hope you've learned a whole lot, you know, great facts, great fun things you can tell your family, maybe friends about. Thank you so much. And remember, it's a big world. Gosh, it's a big world. Thank you.